Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a really powerful poem by Tatumkhulu Afrika called Trespasser. It's a short one, but man, it packs a punch. It takes you on this incredible journey that starts with fear and prejudice and ends up somewhere totally unexpected, a place of real moral reckoning. So right off the bat, the poem's title hits you with this one central question. Who is the real trespasser here? Is it the person who's physically in a place they maybe shouldn't be? Or is it someone else entirely? And that's really the core idea we're going to unpack. The whole point is that the most important boundaries, the ones that get violated in a big way, they're not on any map. They're the ones we build up inside our own heads, with all our assumptions and prejudices.
To really get the weight of this poem, you first have to understand the poet himself. This was a man whose entire life was basically defined by being an outsider.
I mean, just look at this. Afrika's life was a whirlwind of identities. He lived under 3 different names, was classified as white during apartheid, even though he wasn't, and ended up becoming a powerful voice against that very system. He knew deep in his bones what it felt like to not belong.
So you see, this wasn't just some abstract idea for him. His own personal history, a life full of being judged and put into boxes, is what fuels this poem's raw, incredibly honest look at what it feels like to be on the outside looking in. And he drops us right into that feeling from the very first line. The poem opens in this violent, crushing cityscape. The weather itself feels like it's attacking you. Afrika uses these amazing metaphors to make us feel exactly what the speaker feels. Totally cornered, vulnerable, and just on edge. Okay, so now let's go inside the speaker's head, because the second he realizes he's not alone, all of his internal biases just come rushing to the surface, and it's pretty uncomfortable to see. And right away, the poem shows you this huge social divide that exists in the speaker's mind. On one side, you've got the legitimate citizens, they're orderly, they're safe, they belong, and on the other side, the homeless, who he literally dehumanizes as troglodytes, like cave dwellers hiding in the dark corners of the world. His brain just instantly goes to the worst possible place. This really shows you how deep his prejudice runs. He doesn't just see other people, he sees an immediate threat. He's already written a whole script for them in his head, full of aggression and desperation, before he's even laid eyes on them. And this table, this lays out the entire moral battle of the poem. Just look at the massive gap between what the speaker expects and what he's about to see. Every single one of his assumptions, the aggression, the vulgarity, it's all about to get turned completely on its head. So what is it that shatters his prejudice? It's not some big speech or dramatic moment. It's just a sound, a single unexpected sound that doesn't fit his story of misery. It sounds human, it sounds gentle, and it's so curious that it forces him to finally turn around. His curiosity for just a second becomes stronger than his fear. And this is where everything flips. This is the poem's big turning point. What the speaker sees next forces this complete, immediate moral reckoning, and it's all built around one incredibly powerful contrast. At first glance, his prejudice feels confirmed. His brain goes, see? I was right. He sees the man as this monstrous, inhuman thing, a stone gargoyle, ugly and hardened. This is his bias just looking for proof. But then you see this. This is the collision. The gargoyle he imagined is doing something profoundly human and tender. He's feeding a tiny baby. That ugly, stone-cold image just shatters into a million pieces in an instant. And you can see his entire worldview shifting just in the words he uses. Suddenly, he's not seeing a vagrant anymore. He recasts the man with this ancient, heavy dignity, calling him a pater familias, the head of the family, a figure of respect and authority. So now we get to the final act, and the roles completely, 100% reverse. The speaker, the guy who thought he belonged, is now forced to see himself for what he is, an intruder in a very private, almost sacred family moment. You can actually track his whole transformation by following one little object, the bicycle bell. At first, it's just something for his nervous hands to fiddle with. Then, he's so spellbound by what he sees that he forgets it even exists. And by the end, it feels like an absurd, small bell, a ridiculous, childish symbol of his own petty privilege. And this is the real kicker. He gets watched by another man. But the look isn't angry or threatening. It's just carefully indifferent. And in that moment, the power dynamic just flips.
For the first time, he's not the one doing the observing and the judging. He realizes, with a shock, that he is the one being judged. You can literally map his whole emotional journey on a graph like this. He starts way up high with all this fear and suspicion. Then there's this sudden plummet into shock and awe. And where does he end up? Way down at the bottom in this pit of deep shame and feeling like a total outsider. It's a complete reversal. And this is the ultimate irony of the poem, right? The scales have completely tipped. The speaker, the guy who society says belongs, now feels like an alien on his home ground. And the man society calls a nobody, the troglodyte, is now the paterfamilias who holds all the moral power in the space. So what are we supposed to take away from all this? Well, the poem leaves us with some pretty big ideas to chew on. That our prejudices literally create a false reality. That human dignity isn't something that can be taken away by poverty. That real belonging is about so much more than where you're standing. And maybe most importantly, that real empathy only starts when we're willing to confront our own ugly biases. This really breaks it down perfectly. The poem makes us ask, who is trespassing where? Sure, by the laws of the city, the family is trespassing in a physical space. But by any law of human decency, the speaker is the one trespassing on a moral space, intruding on this beautiful, sacred family moment. And that brings us right back to where we started. But now we get it. The title, Trespasser, it isn't an accusation pointed at the homeless family. It's a confession. It's the speaker's own quiet, shame-filled admission that he is the one who crossed a line he shouldn't have.